Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 2. Y'all, we are in for a very good season. Last week's premiere, they came out the gate swinging. With that being said, I already can see where this season is headed, and I can tell that we might be on opposite sides of the fence, and that's okay because over here on this channel, we can have a difference of opinion and still keep it cute and respectful. So I say all that to say, this episode I had to watch a few times to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. And sometimes I need to make sure that I'm viewing something correctly. I still feel the same way after watching several times. And I'm not mad at Margaret. I already know before you guys get upset and say, girl, what? Like, Margaret was dead wrong. Hear me out, because Miss Jennifer Aydin is no saint. And she also throws rocks and hides her hand, and she likes to not take accountability for the things that she does and says too. But let me not jump ahead. Let's just jump right on into it because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off the episode right where we left off with Margaret dropping the bomb about Bill cheating on Jen. So Jen keeps saying that her and Bill are stronger than ever and they're just fine. Margaret walks away and she's like, you know what, girl, like, whatever, if you say so, but you're not being honest with yourself or with anybody. So now Jen is visibly rattled. Teresa's trying to comfort her. She's like, what was that all about? Like, what did she say to you? And then Jen says, she brought up something that I do not want to talk about. So while Teresa is consoling Jen, Margaret is on the other side of the pool and she's talking to Dolores and Melissa and Jackie. She's telling them about what she said to Jen, and then she reveals that she knew about Bill's affair. So Melissa and Jackie are like, wait, what? Like, she admit that? Are you serious right now? Like, Bill really cheated? And Margaret says, yes, he's a cheater. He cheated on her some years ago. I knew this information quite some time ago. Margaret says in her confessional that she knew about this affair years ago, didn't want to say anything, kept it quiet, but every time Jen's name was brought up in her circle, the affair would come up. So that's how she knew about it. Then she adds that Jen pushed her too far this time, and that's why she said something, because she was just really pissed off and she couldn't take it much more. May I just say that when Jen first came on this show, not only did I find her to be completely irritating, but I had always suspected that Bill had cheated or was cheating. I remember earlier on, she was saying that they only had sex once a month. He was always gone, always working, and she always seemed really stressed out. And I remember saying to myself, that just doesn't sound like a happy marriage. Especially when she says sex once a month. I was like, okay, girl, I mean, I don't know how that's going for you, but, God bless. So when this news came out about Bill cheating, it wasn't a huge surprise. I was more surprised that she was able to keep this a secret for as long as she did, because Jen has been on this show now for, 4 years? And we know how it goes. The minute that you sign up to be on reality TV, especially if you're married, if your spouse is cheating on you, you can rest assured that the side piece is about to expose you for a bit of clout and some money. Maybe Bill was paying the mistress to keep quiet, but I'm really in shock that this didn't leak out prior. Now we find out that Jackie knew about the affair because Margaret told her a few months back. I said, Margaret, that woman has a big mouth. Like, she cannot hold water. Then Jackie says that the reason why she never brought it up because she knows firsthand how damaging infidelity rumors are to a marriage. I can tell you right now, if Jackie thinks that she's about to have a storyline by rehashing what happened last year, she has another thing coming. Jackie, I'm gonna need you to find a storyline immediately. So now Dolores wants to hear Jen's side, and she's like, Jen, what happened? And I have a feeling that I already know what you're gonna say. So now Jen says, well, Margaret exposed something that I didn't want to be exposed. And yes, Bill had an affair some years ago, but we're fine now. And it feels like Margaret's trying to break up a happy home. I said, now here's another reason why Jen gets on my nerves. It's a bit delusional to say that someone else is trying to break up your happy home when your husband is the one who stepped out. Why are you trying to absolve your husband of wrongdoing and place all the blame on Margaret? Like Margaret would be the one to break y'all up because she's exposing this. And I really hit the floor when Jen fixed her lips to say, and everybody makes mistakes. I was like, okay, if you're gonna use that logic, then you have to apply that towards Margaret. Because Margaret cheated on her first husband decades ago. For you to keep villainizing her and then to call her a slut, all these names, you're talking about her mama having an affair. I'm like, you want to say that what Bill did is in the past, but yet here you are trying to dig up dirt on two women who did some questionable stuff decades ago. Like, make it make sense. So now we see the husbands and the boyfriends sitting together, and Bill gets up to check on Jen. And so Louie's like, hey, Joe, you want to take a shot together? And Joe's like, sure. So then Joe says, I like Bill and all, but his wife talks too effing much. Now remember, since Jen and Melissa were beefing, Jen took to Instagram last year and she was calling Melissa and Joe everything but a child of God and pretty much calling Joe a crook and saying that he was involved in like shady and seedy business dealings. And there are rumors floating around about Melissa and Joe too. And I remember some little scandal that happened. The New York Post had exposed him for using other people's pictures. He was saying that he was selling some houses when in reality it was another builder who was building and selling these houses, and he was trying to take credit for their work. So now we see Bill and Jen starts crying. She's like, you know what, babe, I want to go home. I don't want to stay here anymore. Like, let's go. So they walk off. They don't even say goodbye to Teresa.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
So, of course, in true Teresa fashion, she can never stick to the topic at hand. She now has to bring what happened up with her and Jackie last year. And she's like, I don't understand it because Margaret got mad at me for what I did to Jackie at Jackie's party, but she did the same thing that I did at my party. I'm like, Teresa, let me stop you right there. What you did and what Margaret did was completely different. You were at Jackie and Evan's party. You were having a great time. Everybody was in great spirits. And you were going around the party telling everybody about these rumors about Evan cheating on Jackie. Margaret and Jen got into an argument. Things got heated, and Margaret exposed her and said this to her face. And on top of that, Margaret was telling the truth while you were spreading around hearsay. So please don't compare what Margaret did to what you did. And while I do like Teresa for the most part, that is something that really irritates me with her. She cannot own up to anything. So, child, I'm like, okay, Bill and Jen are gone, so now they're gonna have a really nice night. I was wrong. Child, it is round 2 with more arguments and more craziness. Joe, Gorga, Louie, Teresa, and now Teresa's daughter, Gia, are all sitting together. So Joe brings up how Jen was calling him a crook on social media. He now brings up how he was uneasy about coming to this party in the first place. So child, we already know why Gia's mad at her uncle. She is talking under her breath and she's like, well, you know, that's what happens when people open their mouth on social media and say things like the same thing happening to my father. Joe can clearly hear his niece talking under her breath. So he's like, what, Gia? What do you have to say? Like, what's going on? Let's just squash this because you're obviously still upset with me. Let's just have it out. So Gia's like, look, uncle, like, don't talk to me crazy. I am not a little kid. I am a grown woman, okay? I am 21 years old. Please do not talk down to me. Now, before anybody goes on about Gia being disrespectful, how she needs to be slapped, I can't condemn Gia for her mouth, because I was a very feisty child growing up. I mean, I'm sure you can't tell. But I had a mouth on me. And from the time I was a little girl, I would always say, look, my parents speak to me nicely, respectfully, so I wasn't going to have any other adult scream at me or curse at me or talk to me poorly. You get what I'm saying? I say all that to say, while I definitely understand where Joe Gorga is coming from, because that is his sister, those are his nieces, he witnessed his former brother-in-law being terrible to them, and he's protective of them. So I understand why he's upset and he said the things that he said. And I don't fault him for that. He has every right to express his opinion, and the fact that he is on a reality show, he's going to say things because it also makes for interesting storylines. But on the flip side, when Gia was getting upset with her uncle, I was like, I understand. And I don't think that she was intentionally trying to be disrespectful to her uncle. I just think that she's super passionate, and because that's her father, even if he is a shitty individual, she still loves her dad. And she still remembers the good things that her dad did. And it's just tough for her. And she feels like she's standing up for her mom and her sisters and herself. So I think that she was coming from a place of, I'm defending my family. And it wasn't so much she was being disrespectful. Does that make sense? Now, don't get me wrong. There were a few times during this heated conversation where I felt like Gia was definitely doing a bit too much. When Melissa came over to talk to her and trying to diffuse the situation, and Gia was like, you're aggravating me right now. And I was like, Gia, that's rude. And your aunt is just trying to help. And another thing, Gia has the same contempt that her mother has for Melissa. And it's sad how things trickle down to the kids, because since Teresa doesn't care too much for Melissa, Teresa's girls see that. And because of that, they treat Melissa kind of like, girl, you're just here. You're just the woman that my uncle married, but you'll be gone soon. We see Joe at the front. He is really pissed off. He's like, I can't believe that my niece is speaking to me like this. Like, I love her to death. And the fact that she looks at me like I'm the devil. So Louie's trying to calm him down. Then their other friend, I think he was the contractor who built Teresa's pool. I always wanted them to date. He was so cute, by the way. And he makes good money. But I digress. But anyhow, they're both trying to calm Joe down. And then we see Gia going to find her uncle, and they start arguing yet again. Now, Gia, while you and I are two feisty girls, I have to just call you out and get you together quickly, because I thought that you were out of line when your uncle brought up his parents and how their hearts were broken about what happened with your mom. And when you said to him, stop talking about my grandparents, and you stormed off, I said, how dare you? Because yes, those are your grandparents, but I'm sorry, he has the trump card because those are his parents. So I don't know what you thought you were trying to say. I was like, girl, excuse me? So now Gia comes back to the front to see her uncle again, and she's like, look, what happened with my mom and dad was 5 years ago. They both went to jail, both did their time. It is what it is now. Can we all just move on? Like, my dad already feels terrible for what he put my mom through, what he put all of us through. So please, let's stop talking about him. I'm not gonna hold you. This scene between Gia and Joe really got on my nerves, because I felt like this could have been avoided had Gia just gone out with her friends or her boyfriend and let the adults enjoy their party. I was really unsure as to why Gia was there in the first place. I was happy to see Gia and Joe finally hug it out because that's his girl. He's also her godfather, so I know he's not trying to beef with his niece. I really hope that it's all smooth sailing for Joe and his nieces, but something tells me in that family there's going to be some more drama and some more strife. Now we finally move on to the next scene. Jen's at home. She's having a really nice pool party for her kids. All their friends are there. Everybody's having a great time. Jen says that she's trying to forget about what happened at Teresa's party and how her stomach is still in knots about what happened. She goes on to add that Bill is in hiding. He's super embarrassed about his secret being exposed. And again, I don't have too much sympathy because Bill should have never stepped out on his wife. And knowing that this happened when Jen was pregnant with his fourth child, absolutely not. Now we see Teresa and Dolores pull up to Jen's party and they all go in the kitchen to talk. So Teresa starts it off, and of course, she just can't help herself. She's like, Jen, I feel like what Margaret did to you was exactly what she got mad at me for doing at Jackie's party last year. So Jen says, yeah, I know. She's such a hypocrite. I said, that's real rich coming from you, Jen, because, baby, you are full of contradictions. And I rolled my eyes when the producer was asking Teresa, like, so now do you see why you were wrong about what you did to Jackie and Evan last year? And she was still like, no, because they were just rumors. And it was like, you really just can't own up and say I was wrong, can you? And I hate being irritated with Teresa because I just loved her so much on Ultimate Girls Trip. She was such a sweetheart. So now to see her back in her element in Jersey, I'm like, girl, please don't piss me off. So now Teresa and Dolores are both like, well, we don't mean to pry, but if you don't mind saying, how long ago was this affair? Like, was it recent? Was it, years ago? Like, when was this? So Jen says it was 10 years ago, right before I was giving birth to Christian, who's her fourth child, 10 days before she gave birth. And the way she found out was she saw a credit card receipt of Bill and the woman getting bottle service at a club. So Teresa's like, so were you guys unhappy? Like, what was going on? And Jen says, I mean, we were moving to Jersey. Bill was working all the time. On top of that, he was feeling himself because he was just starting to make some money. Then she continues by saying that what sealed the deal for her was when she saw a text message on his phone and she confronted him immediately and he admitted that yes, he was having an affair, but it was over and he wasn't in love with her. Then Jen adds that she was throwing things at him, she was screaming, yelling, cursing at him, and then once she gave birth to her fourth child, they never spoke about it again. She also adds that she never talked to anybody about the affair, not her mom, not her sister, not her best friend, and I was like, absolutely not. I just don't know how she was able to deal with something so traumatic like that on her own, and especially since she was 9 months pregnant. When I tell you that Bill would forever have a knot on his head because I would have torn him up. So, by the way, there's a little rumor going on in the blogs that the only reason why Jen is being truthful about Bill's past affair is because allegedly Bill is doing the same thing again. And she doesn't want anybody to focus on what's going on right now. And that's why she's bringing up this affair from 10 years ago. I don't know how true this is. Again, it's just a rumor on the blogs, but I would not be surprised if that's true because I'm really shocked at how forthcoming she is about what happened in the past when she wasn't willing to talk about this before. Now, let me just say this. Y'all really make what I do so much fun because y'all be on it in that comment section. Baby, one of y'all hit the nail on the head when you said that's the real reason why Jen cannot sympathize or empathize with her own mother and what she went through in her marriage because she went through the same thing with Bill when he cheated on her. And the fact that she sucked it up and didn't tell anybody, she sort of has this disdain for her own mom, expressing her grievances because she hasn't been honest with herself, that she's actually upset at what Bill did to her. But child, let's just move right on to the next scene. We see another short scene with Dolores and Margaret. They're doing some furniture shopping because we all know that Dolores' house is being renovated for the 11th time. Baby, this house still isn't done. She doesn't have any railings. She said the dogs are jumping off of the stairwells like it's a cliff. I said, oh no, not the dogs. And you know dogs are always jumping and just running around too, so I can only imagine. And the fact that she has like 3 or 4 dogs, so all of them just jumping around going crazy, I'm sure she's like, if this house does not get finished sometime soon, then like we're gonna have an issue. But Dolores, I'm gonna need you to hire another contractor and not your ex-husband Frank, because Frank is clearly not doing his job. Now, I know that with COVID, things slowed up and materials weren't being made and, you know, the shipment times were just like crazy. But still, I feel like Frank isn't even trying. So they finished making small talk about Dolores' home and the furniture. And Dolores says, look, I spoke to Jen the other night and she was really shaken up about the whole thing. Then she says, Margaret, you know I love you and all, but I didn't think it was right for you to do that at Teresa's party. So Margaret says, look, she was pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and I just couldn't take it anymore, and I find her to be very hypocritical. So now Margaret decides that she wants to drop yet another bombshell, and she's like, look, Dolores, I've known for months that Jen has been calling up all my girlfriends in Tenafly trying to dig up dirt on Evan. So Dolores is like, wait, what? Like she was? Margaret says, girl, yes. So her trying to act like she's so innocent and so sweet is all a lie because she's the same one trying to dig up dirt on other folks when she has the most skeletons in her closet. So now Dolores is upset hearing this and she's like, you know what? Now I'm really pissed off because that's not right. Jen is somebody who cannot take ownership of what she does. That is very messed up of her to dig for information about Jackie and Evan's marriage when she knows good and damn well that her own husband stepped out on her while she was pregnant with her 4th child. So now Margaret's asking Dolores if she's wrong for what she did now. And so Dolores says, well, you know what? After hearing that Jen was trying to dig up dirt on Jackie and Evan's marriage, then I feel like you were completely justified. And when you do things like that, there are consequences. So now Dolores says, well, just so you know, I'm inviting everybody over to my housewarming / get-together party for my new townhouse, and I'm hoping that everybody can start off on a clean slate. So Margaret's like, girl, good luck with that. Like, I doubt that we're all going to be, you know, on a clean slate. I doubt it's going to be water under the bridge, but I'll be cautiously optimistic. And also, another reason why I'm not mad at Margaret for what she did at Teresa's party was we all know how Jen is. Had she known some tea like this about Margaret, she would have exposed Margaret in front of everybody. We all know how she operates. Jen is always looking for a moment, okay? She wants to stay on this show just like all the rest of these women. And she will do whatever it takes to keep a storyline and keep some drama up. So if you don't think for a minute that Jen wouldn't have embarrassed somebody the way Margaret embarrassed her, you've got another thing coming because she absolutely would have. So now we finally get to the scene that we've all been waiting for. And it is the day of Dolores's housewarming party / get-together. And may I say that Dolores shouldn't even be in a rush to get back to her old home because her townhouse is absolutely stunning. I mean, Dolores did that. The bathroom was gorgeous. I loved when she was giving them the house tour. I mean, everything was just absolutely beautiful. And you know that Dolores was raised right because she had a private chef there and a fabulous spread.
I love it. I love it.
So everybody's over at Dolores' townhouse. They're all loving her home. They're like, girl, are you sure you want to go back to your house? Like, why don't you want to stay here? Like, this is gorgeous. It's like a bachelorette pad. And then they ask her, how does her boyfriend David like her living by herself in the townhome instead of with him? And I was thinking, I mean, they're not married, so why should he feel some sort of way? So Dolores says that he's fine with it for the most part. I mean, kind of, not really. And then she finally says that, honestly, she and David see each other less and less. Now, off rip, I have always given a side eye at Dolores and David's relationship. I have always felt like something was not quite right. I have always just gotten the impression that David could care less. He didn't seem to be that into her for some reason. I just don't understand what his deal was. He was never available to go to any events with her. Like, she never saw him. He was spending more time with her ex-husband, Frank. It was like, what's going on? And that's great that they're friends, but I don't understand why you don't want to see your girlfriend. Just the way that he seemed to be dragging his feet about taking it to the next level, if he wanted to get married or not. It just seemed like Dolores was wasting her time. And David wasn't even that cute. I felt like Dolores should have jumped ship a long time ago, but we're going to see in the upcoming episodes that she and David finally do break up, and thank you, Jesus. Because Dolores, like I said, could do a lot better. And she deserves better. I mean, she honestly has more chemistry with her ex-husband than she did with David. But Dolores, I saw that you still have that Porsche that he bought you sitting in the driveway, and I said, I know that's right. So now Margaret starts asking Dolores if Dolores would be open to another gentleman sweeping her off of her feet like Louis did Teresa. So they start laughing, and of course they start discussing that crazy video of Louis again.
I've been here for a week. These are my brothers. These are my bond. These are my brothers. This is my coach, Kevin. These are guys that are very unfamiliar in my life. I love you, and I love our family together. I love our children, and I hope you receive this message well.
Margaret goes on to say how she went on Google and started researching that little camp that he was in. It was some therapy for men, and they pretty much beat the shit out of each other so that they don't go home and take it out on their wives and girlfriends. I was like, excuse me, come again? So while they're all laughing and joking around, Jen finally arrives, and she's super timid. She's talking in a low voice. She's nervous. She doesn't want to come in the room and join the rest of the women. She's all like, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm kind of scared. Her voice is quivering. She's shaking in the corner. And everybody else is like, girl, like, what's the deal with her? Like, why is she acting like this? I mean, seriously, if you have to come in all scared and afraid, you're better off not coming. Because I'll be damned if I let some people think that they've had me shook where I'm going to be, scared and shaking when I see them. Baby, Jen is already crying. Like, nobody has said more than 2 words to her. She's already overwhelmed. And Dolores is like, girl, why are you crying? Like, what's the matter? There is no reason to cry. Dolores was really giving that, like, tough love. Like, girl, suck it up. You're here now. Let me pour you a drink and put a smile on your face. Like, I'm not here for all this crying. I just want a nice, drama-free afternoon, please. So now Margaret comes over to Jen, and she's like, girl, why are you crying? Like, what's going on? Let's just have a chat to the side, just you and I. So now they start talking. Margaret says, look, I'm not trying to fight with you, okay? But your behavior towards me these past few years has been unacceptable and very hypocritical. You are constantly trying to villainize me, and then come to find out, look at what your husband did. So you already know that things are going left. Like, they're not seeing the other's perspective. It's getting heated, and the other ladies are eavesdropping. So now Margaret's like, okay, if you want to play this game, let's play once again. Margaret says, Jen, you're the same woman who was trying to dig up information about Evan. Now, you already know that Jackie goes hard for her husband. So she was like, wait, what? baby, Jackie walks over and Jen's like, look, full transparency. I just was being nosy, you know, I was gossiping like everybody else does. And Jackie's like, excuse me, are you serious right now? Like, my husband, do not talk about him. And it was found out that my husband did nothing wrong. He wasn't cheating. Yours was. So Jen is still trying to defend herself by saying that it's human nature to be nosy and want to find out more about people. So Jackie says, girl, I'm not going to do this with you because you're constantly trying to find information out on other people. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, your husband had a whole affair on you. And it was so funny how Jen tried to throw Dolores' ex-husband under the bus because she was like, well, you know, Frank told me that he knew the girl that Evan was allegedly seeing. And I saw that Frank got on Instagram to clear his name. So now Jen starts crying about her kids, how she doesn't want them to find out about this. And I saw in that interview that Jen just did a few weeks ago with Us Weekly, and she said that her youngest daughter found out about the affair on Tik Tok. And she said that her daughter was writing in the comments like, this isn't true, stop lying on my mom and dad, my dad would never do that. And so she said her daughter showed her, and then she had to sit her down, all the kids down, and say, you know what, this is true. Daddy did cheat on me, but I forgave him. You know, it's okay. He's not a bad guy. So now Dolores is getting annoyed. She's like, look, y'all, stop all this arguing. Let's just have a great time and let's pop open some champagne. But you can see that Jen is still visibly upset over what just occurred between her, Margaret, and Jackie. So now they're popping champagne. The vibe is still kind of off. And now Teresa finally arrives. She had to drop her daughter off. I think she said to like dance rehearsal or something. But Teresa comes in and she's trying to pick a fight with Margaret. She's like, Margaret, why were you saying that what I did last year when it came to Jackie and Evan was wrong, but you did the same thing? So now all the ladies are like, Teresa, stop. Like, please don't bring this back up. What you did was wrong. It's enough already. And again, that is one thing that I cannot stand about Teresa. She cannot own up to anything. She had no right to go around spreading some rumors about somebody else's marriage that weren't true in the first place. And to do that at somebody's birthday party was dead ass wrong. So the episode ends with Jen leaving Dolores' party early. She's over it. And Margaret and Dolores say that Jen is being a hypocrite. And I agree. I honestly feel like Jen isn't that happy deep down inside. And I feel like Bill's affair is a big reason why she wanted to join this show in the first place, because she knows that once you join a Real Housewives franchise, and if you are asked back for another season, those checks start going up. She has fame and money on her own, and now she feels like she can stand on her own 2 feet if she should ever leave Bill. But again, we're in for a treat. Jersey always brings it. I caught how they brought in a new woman named Caroline at Dolores' house. And I think that Caroline is going to be a full-time housewife. But we shall see. I'm excited to get to know more of her. And y'all, I am excited to hear what y'all have to say. Are y'all on Margaret's side? Are you riding out with Jen? Let me know down in the comments. But as always, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed my recap. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.